Good morning, everyone. Good morning. The time for convening has arrived. The Senate will come to order. All unauthorized visitors, please exit the chamber. I recognize the Senator from the 6th.
Good morning, Mr. President. Hope you're doing great today. We got some people from all over the state visiting us today. Good to see my congressman here. Mr. President, I'm a little concerned. The President Pro Tem is making a power play here. I just want you to notice I didn't put a Buc-ee's bag on my desk. I'm more of a Jones Petroleum guy.
Yeah.
Just make notes. I'm making notes for you.
They got a cute little thing going there. That Buc-ee's. They got a cute.
Well, they
little
didn't
thing
put
going.
beef jerky in the bags. I'm a little disappointed. But
That
Mr.
must
President, we
have come
got.
from the one. Was that the one from down around the Cordele area?
You got me. Like I said, I only go to Jones Petroleum.
Okay, good deal. I knew I liked you.
That's how I got to be rules chairman, isn't it? Anyway, I just want to say the senator from, where's Dixon? What district? 45th. The senator from the 45th has been very busy. He's got a lot of pages today. Very proud of him. Out of Dunwoody, Georgia, we have Matthew Becerra. From Decula, we have Jalen Crystal. From Auburn, we have the senator from the 45th daughter, Berkeley Dixon. From Portal, we have Lee Drawdy. From Decatur, Sophia Garate Blair. From Houston, we have Katie Ann Glazer. From Buford, we have Addison Green and Phoebe Harper. From Decula, Bella Hogue. From Houston, Ayla Husby. From Brazelton, Christian Calarickle. From Hampton, Desiree Lawson. From Houston, Reese Lovelady. From Macon, Elijah Maddox. From Houston, we have Derek McCollum. From Decula, Maddox Rodville. From the great city of Mulberry, we have Brady Rudnick. From Rome, we have our friend Matt Sawhill's daughter, Caroline Sawhill. From Peachtree City, my neighbor, we have Aniston Spivey. And we also have the congressman here from Peachtree City. From Stockbridge, Malik Street. From Atlanta, Jillian Sweeney. From Milledgeville, Caleb Williams. And from Mill Creek, Veronica Nanise. Y'all give these pages a big round of applause. We appreciate them being here to do the people's business here in the Georgia State Senate. Mr. President, today is the 33rd legislative day. There are no coincidences. I just want to tell you, look forward to a great day today.
All right, Senator. Thank you for doing that, Senator. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, you got something else?
Sorry, Mr. President. I move that we dispense with the reading of the journal. It has been read and found to be correct.
Is there objection to dispensing of the reading of the journal? Chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to the confirmation of the journal? Chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. All senators have bills and resolutions to introduce. Please bring them to the Secretary's desk. First reading references the Senate bills. Ms. Secretary.
Senate Bill 340 by Senator Watson the first, the bill to be entitled an act to amend an act to provide for a new charter for the city of Tybee Island, approved April 20th.
State and local government.
Senate Bill 341 by Senator Tillery the 19th and others, bill to be entitled an act
Banking.
Senate Bill 342 by Senator Albers the 56th and others.
Retirement.
Senate Bill 343 by Senator Hatcher the 50th and others, bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section
Children and Family.
Senate Bill 344 by Senator Kennedy of the
State
18th.
and local government.
Senate Bill 345 by Senator Kennedy
State
of the
and
18th.
local government.
Senate Bill 346 by Senator Jackson
State
the
and local
41st.
government.
Senate Resolution 410 by Senator Orrick of the 36th and others, a resolution urging the federal...
Transportation.
Senate Resolution 413 by Senator Kennedy the 18th and others,
Transportation.
Senate Resolution 414 by Senator Kennedy the 18th.
Transportation.
Mr. President, that completes the order.
First reading references and House bills.
House Bill 637 by Representative Cummings of the 39th.
State and local government.
House Bill 732 by Representative
State and
Townsend.
local government.
House Bill 734 by Representative Hagan.
State and local government.
House Bill 735 by Representative Hagan, the 156. The bill to mean
State and local government.
House Bill 737 by Representative
State
Smith.
and local government.
House Bill 738 by Representative Crowe.
State and local government.
House Bill 739 by Representative Park of the 107th and others. Bill to be entitled an act to amend
State
an
and
act.
local government.
House Bill 741 by Representative Petrie, the 166
State
and
and
others.
local government.
Mr. President, that completes the order.
Secretary read reports of standing committees.
Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Children and Families has had under consideration the following legislation as instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Resolution 310 do pass. House Bill 253 do pass by substitute. House Bill 340 do pass. House Bill 433 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Kirkpatrick, the 32nd District Chairman. Dear Mr. Secretary, pursuant to Senate Rule 2-1.6, I hereby give notice that I will introduce a minority report to be read along with a majority report of House Bill 340, which was passed by the Committee on Children and Families on March 18, 2025. Sincerely, Senator Parks. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Economic Development and Tourism has had under consideration the following legislation as instructed me to report the same act to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 216 do pass. House Bill 233 do pass by substitute. House Bill 399 do pass by substitute. House Bill 454 do pass by substitute. House Bill 455 do pass. House Bill 466 do pass. House Bill 718 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Beach of the 21st District Chairman. Dear Mr. Secretary, pursuant to Senate Rule 2-1.6, I hereby give notice that I will introduce a minority report read along with the majority report of House Bill 454, which was passed by the Committee on Economic Development and Tourism on March 19, 2025. Sincerely, Senator Mallow. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Finance has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same act to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Resolution 386 do pass. House Bill 134 do pass. House Bill 144 do pass. House Bill 153 do pass. House Bill 445 do pass. House Bill 652 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Husseller, the 52nd District Chairman. Dear Mr. Secretary, pursuant to Senate Rule 2-1.6, I hereby give notice that I will introduce a minority report read along with the majority report of Senate Resolution 386, which was passed by the Committee on Finance on Wednesday, March 19, 2025. Sincerely, Senator Rett. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Government Oversight has had under consideration the following legislation as instructed me to report the same act to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 113 do pass by substitute. House Bill 485 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Harper, the 16th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Insurance and Labor has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same act to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 94 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 196 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Walker, the 20th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Judiciary has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same act to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 85 do pass. House Bill 177 do pass. House Bill 222 do pass. House Bill 325 do pass. House Bill 327 do pass. House Bill 384 do pass. House Bill 530 do pass. House Bill 535 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland, the 42nd District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Natural Resources and the Environment has had under consideration the following legislation and instructed me to report the same act to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 115 do pass. House Bill 143 do pass. House Bill 331 do pass. House Bill 432 do pass. House Bill 443 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 444 do pass. House Bill 491 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Anderson, the 21st District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Public Safety has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same act to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 208 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Albers, the 56th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Regulated Industries and Utilities has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same act to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 148 do pass. House Bill 185 do pass. House Bill 232 do pass by substitute. House Bill 579 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Cowser, the 46th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Rules has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same act to the Senate with the following recommendation. Pursuant to Senate Rule 2-1.10b, the Committee on Rules has referred the following legislation from the general calendar. Senate Resolution 323 to the Committee on Rules. Respectfully submitted, Senator Nebraska, the 6th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on State Institutions and Property has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same act to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Resolution 121 do pass. House Bill 254 do pass. House Bill 303 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Harbison, the 15th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on State and Local Governmental Operations General has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same act to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 309 do pass. House Bill 513 do pass by substitute. House Bill 516 do pass by substitute. House Bill 647 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Dixon, the 45th District Chairman. Dear Mr. Secretary, pursuant to Senate Rule 2-1.6, I hereby give notice that I will introduce a minority report to read along with the majority report of House Bill 647, which was passed by Committee on State and Local Governmental Operations General on March 19, 2025. Sincerely, Senator Mallow. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on State and Local Governmental Operations has had under consideration the following legislation has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 331 do pass. House Bill 593 do pass. Senate Bill 330 do pass by substitute. Senate Bill 333 do pass. Senate Bill 334 do pass. Senate Bill 335 do pass. Senate Bill 336 do pass. House Bill 648 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Dixon, the 45th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Transportation has had under consideration the following legislation and instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 114 do pass. House Bill 116 do pass. House Bill 551 do pass by substitute. House Bill 575 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Dolezal, the 27th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Veterans, Military, and Homeland Security has had under consideration the following legislation and instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 53 do pass by substitute. House Bill 108 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Payne, the 54th District Chairman. Dear Mr. Secretary, pursuant to Senate Rule 2-1.6, I hereby give notice that I will introduce a minority report spread along with the majority report of House Bill 108, which was passed by the Committee on Veterans, Military, and Homeland Security on March 19, 2025. Sincerely, Senator Wicks. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Secretary, read bills and resolutions for the second time.
Senate Resolution 283 by Senator Beach, the 21st, and others. Joint Study Committee on Height Restrictions Surrounding Georgia Airports. Create. House Bill 58 by Representative Richardson, the 125th, and others. Aviation. Adoption of local ordinances, resolution, regulations, or policies that restrict the flight of unmanned aircraft systems over mass public gatherings. Authorized. House Bill 156 by Representative Jones, the 25th, and others. Transportation Department of Authority over Vestiports. Provide. House Bill 164 by Representative Meeks, the 178th, and others. Highway, bridges, and ferries. Allowable variance for weight limitations upon a vehicle or load. Repeal automatic repeal provisions. House Bill 197 by Representative Hawkins, of the 27th, and others. Insurance healthcare providers to respond to a private review agent's or utility review entity's attempt to discuss the patient's care. Detail the effort. House Bill 348 by Representative Williamson, of the 112th, and others. Insurance. Expand lines of insurance or reinsurance in which a limited purpose subsidiary and captive insurance company may engage. House Bill 422 by Representative McCollum, of the 30th, and others. State employees' health insurance include high deductible health plans. Mr. President, that completes the order.
It is now time for the morning roll call. Recognize the senator from the 33rd.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, y'all. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senators from the 35th and 44th for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senators from the 35th and 44 are excused. Any other motions to excuse? Secretary will call the roll. Senators, signify your presence by voting the yay switch. Who we got? Senator from the 43rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 26th.
Without objection, Senator from the 26th.
Thank you.
Any other motions? Senator from the 33rd again.
40 what? I ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 40th for business outside the Capitol.
Without objection, Senator from the 40th is excused. Any other motions? Senator from the 22nd.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Unanimous consent to excuse the senators from the 44th and 41st for business outside the Capitol.
44th and 41st, without objection, are excused. Senator from the 15th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 10th.
Without objection, Senator from the 10th is excused. All right. Secretary, call the roll, Senator. Signify your presence by voting the yay switch. Secretary, unlock the machine. It is now time for our morning devotion. All senators, please take your seats and cease all conversation. I'd ask that the doorkeepers secure the chamber at this time, and we cut out all unnecessary chatter. I recognize the senator from the 19th to lead us in our pledge and introduce our chaplain of the day.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now to the Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag, to the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, moderation, and courage. Members, it's my honor today to introduce you to the pastor of the day, Pastor Brad Waters. He's from First Baptist Church in Hazelhurst, Georgia. Brad was raised in Tucker, and in the year 2000, he was called from the business world into ministry at the age of 30 years old. After answering God's call, Brad served as the pastor of the churches in Rutledge and in Monroe. He's currently the senior pastor at First Baptist Church, as I said, in Hazelhurst, where he's faithfully served for the past 13 years. He's passionate about sharing the gospel of Christ and sharing it wherever he goes and with whomever he comes in contact with. He's been married to his wife, Cheryl, for the past 31 years, and they have two children who paged with us earlier this year, John Wesley, who you'll see down there, and Catherine, Kat, who reminded me that tomorrow is Down Syndrome Day, and in honor of that we need to all make sure we wear our crazy socks. I'm sure the senator from the 49th will remind us of that as well. Pastor Waters, if you don't mind, please come and bringing us our invocation.
Thank you, Senator Tillery, Governor Jones, to the members of this body, from the constituents that are in Jeff Davis County and the citizens and the congregants of First Baptist Hazelhurst. We just say thank you for what you do. I realize this is a sacrificial work that you men and women do, and on behalf of our community and the communities around us, we're very, very grateful. I do want to say, without taking into the time, please remember Kat. Kat, stand up, and I want everybody to see you, most beautiful girl in the room. Yeah. Tomorrow is World Down Syndrome Day, and we would ask you, wear your crazy socks as we celebrate Kat and her community of friends. The world's a much better place with cats in it. And, you know, as I think about that this morning, I think about one particular verse that God laid upon my heart for this time together this morning. And it's a verse that if you've been in Sunday school or you've been in church or just been around pretty much life in general, you know what John 3:16 says. It says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life." You know, as we think about those words, that's the sweetest words to ever fall from heaven to human ears. We recognize in 25 words, we find out all we need to know about God and all we need to know about man. All of his glory, all of his grace, all of his goodness is wrapped up and packed in that one simple verse. Luther called it a miniature Bible. Some have said that it's so simple a child can understand it, but so complex a theologian cannot explain it. It is truly, without question, the greatest verse that has ever been given to mankind. You see, it tells three simple things to us this morning. It tells us, first of all, about the everlasting God. He is the source. That is for God. You recognize he is the infinite God of creation. In the beginning, God created. Hebrews says, God, who at sundry times and diverse manners spoke in times past to the fathers by the prophets. That is this creator God. He's an infinite creator God, but more than that, this verse teaches us that he is the intimate God of salvation. That means that he came on a specific purpose. So he's the everlasting God, the God who has no beginning and he has no end. You see that love that he loves us with, it never commenced and it never will end. He's an everlasting God. But the second thing it tells us is about an overwhelming love. You see, that overwhelming love is the strength. The strength of this verse is found in two words. So love. You know, I could say this morning, and you would probably join with me. We say we love Kat, and we love our citizens that you represent and that I represent as a pastor. But when you add that little word so, that's a load-bearing verb. And it gives strength to that phrase, so love. Because if I say I love you and then I turn around and say I so love you, that's a different type love. God loves us and he so loves us. There's nothing that can describe that. You see today, that love is an indescribable love. It's powerful. That love is an individual love. It is personal. That love is an initiated love. It is proactive. But I believe the best part of this is that love is an inviting love. It is persuasive. When we read into it, we recognize in a loveless world, there's love that comes from one source, and that is God, and it's an overwhelming love, and it's strong. It's a strong love like no other. When we think about it, there's a third thing that we must look at. Not only is there an everlasting God, he's the source, an overwhelming love, and that's the strength. But I believe that there is one part of this verse that we cannot overlook. There's a perishing world, and that's the scope. You say, who does God love today? He loves you. He loves me. He loves the world. He's not a God who's a respecter of persons. He's an omniscient God. He's an omnipresent God. But I'll say to you this morning, he's an omnibenevolent God. He loves and he sends that love toward us. So here we find the subject, the meaning of what this verse really means. It means that he is the one who loves. He loves the world in its entirety. What's the subject? Well, it's found right here. Whosoever will. You see, you're a whosoever will today. God loves you. He went to Calvary and died on the cross and shed his blood. And in that, he took care of our sin problem. He was buried in a borrowed tomb and raised again the third day. And from that, he took care of our death problem. So you see, Jesus Christ is the Savior of not just a few and not just some, but for the whole world. And anyone that will call upon his name, that's the subject. But I want to tell you the greatest news I can tell you in closing this morning is this. He is a wonderful Savior. He's a wonderful Savior, and his name is Jesus. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. The Bible says we have seen and do testify that God sent Jesus to be the Savior of the world, the whole world. As I think about this verse this morning, there's enough gospel in John 3:16 to save the world if they'll just believe it. If you'll believe it today, he'll save you. If you'll trust in him today, he'll forgive you, and he'll give you eternal life and everlasting life. Because the Bible says, whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. I think about a physician friend of mine, a dear friend, who his life had kind of run upon the rocks. And he found himself on a Saturday night sleeping in his office on his sofa. And he woke up on Sunday morning with his head kind of foggy and not really knowing which way to turn. And in his office there, he turned the television on. And he looked on that television on an NFL football game. And in the end zone of that football game, there was a man with a neon wig. And he had a giant piece of poster board. And that poster board said, John 3:16. He said, I had no idea what that was. I'd never heard that in my life. All I knew was that it was maybe a reference to the Word of God. And he said, there he turned, and on the credenza in that lobby was a Gideon Bible. And he picked that Gideon Bible up, and he said, it took me almost an hour to find this John 3:16. And he said, when I found John 3:16, I read it, and it changed my life forever. Christ Jesus came in, and friend, when Jesus comes, homes are changed and lives are rearranged. Everything's different when Jesus passes by. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Would you pray with me this morning? Father, thank you for this time that we've had. Lord, we thank you for the strongest, most powerful, sweetest verse, Lord, that you've sent to lost and dying man. Father, we thank you this morning for this Senate chamber and the ones that occupy it. God, I pray for wisdom and, Lord, for discernment. Lord, that they would be like the sons of Issachar. Lord, they'd not just know the times, but they would know what to do about the times. And Father, I pray you'll guide their every step. And Lord, guide their every decision. Thank you for this opportunity this morning to tell the old story one more time. Jesus, be with us as we go through this day, and we ask it in that strong, powerful, mighty, and majestic name, which is above every name, the name of Jesus. Amen and amen.
If I could have everyone's attention real quick, please. I could have everyone's attention. We always like to introduce and recognize our congressional delegation, the men and women that come down here and speak to us, the folks who are serving in Washington, D.C., on our behalf. And we have a very special guest today, a good friend of mine. He and I share the same high school as our alma mater. We were both Woodward Academy graduates. Brian hails from Peachtree City, Georgia, and went to college out in California at Pepperdine University. And he's always, ever since graduating from Pepperdine, he's always had a servant's heart. He's really always poured himself back into public service. He had the opportunity to work in the first Trump administration back in 2016 and continued to work alongside President Trump after he left office in 2020 and then back into office in 2024. But opportunity came along that journey, an opportunity for him to run for Congress in his own backyard presented itself, and he jumped on that opportunity, and he won a decisive race this past election cycle, and he is now representing us and the people of West Georgia in Congress right now, and he's doing a wonderful job. We're glad to have him. He is really making some big inroads there in Washington, D.C., and we'd love to hear the update on what's going on with him, but we really appreciate him being here and coming to speak to us this chamber. So please give a warm welcome to Congressman Brian Jack.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor. As he mentioned, we're both graduates of Woodward Academy, and for those in the gallery, I want you all to know our Lieutenant Governor was quite the athlete. He was 8 years ahead of me at Woodward, but the legend of Burt Jones persisted even when I was there. He went on to be the co-captain of the 2002 SEC championship-winning Georgia Bulldogs football team, and I am incredibly grateful for your support when I launched my campaign for Congress. When you run for Congress, you know who your friends are. He endorsed me on day one, and it's something for which I will always be grateful. But before I begin, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge, and I'd like to also offer a round of applause for someone very special to many of you in the chamber. He is my best friend. He helped run my campaign, and I'd like to put on the record, something that happened just about a month ago. He was nominated by our 47th president to serve as the Assistant Secretary of the Interior for Indian Affairs, Mr. Billy Kirkland. Congratulations. And I just know that if I had mentioned Senator Beach's name just then, the applause would have been twice as loud. So I'm very grateful to have time with you all today. I wanted to speak to the Senate because, for me, the Georgia Senate has always been the cradle of leadership in Georgia. Mr. Lieutenant Governor, you may know, but the last 5 governors of our state started their careers here in the state Senate. Among your membership is a former congressman, Mr. Burns, who decided he wanted to get a promotion and ran for the state Senate instead of Congress, where I serve today. And our 39th president, Jimmy Carter, may he rest in peace, started his career in this very chamber. So it's no surprise that many of you are considered the next leaders of Georgia. Many of you are being talked about for different leadership opportunities in just a couple years' time. So I wanted to take the opportunity to visit with you all today to share with you what I've been up to in these first few months that I've been able to serve the people of Georgia in Congress. I proudly served, as Burt noted, Georgia's 3rd Congressional District. We've got 15 counties, and I overlap with many of you. But my journey with the state Senate started before I ran for Congress. As Lieutenant Governor noted, I worked for President Trump for 9 years before I got elected to Congress. I worked in his White House from the very first to very last day of his administration. And therein, I had an opportunity to work with some of y'all. Senator Albers came to see me a couple times. We worked on some deregulation issues. I got to know my home county state senator, Marty Harbin, incredibly well during that time. And I really enjoyed the opportunity to build a relationship with Senator Beach. President Trump often asks about you, and really appreciate the relationship we were all able to build. When I ran for Congress, I had an opportunity to start building relationships with the state senators whose constituencies now overlap with mine. And I'd like to first acknowledge your Rules Committee Chairman, Mr. Brass. Matt Brass, on my first week, took me to a breakfast with some county leaders in Coweta County, and thereafter he took me to the College and Career Academy, which it really serves as a model for the state in trying to ensure that children coming up that want different types of career paths are able to adapt to the modern workforce. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to visit with you during that time. Senator Robertson and I probably were together every day toward the stretch. It seemed like every time we were at an event in Harris County or Muskogee County, we were always together. Senator Kennedy kindly opened his doors to me in Macon during my runoff, and I'm very grateful for that. And I especially enjoyed the opportunity to build a relationship with Senator Bearden. We talk mostly about sports, not about politics, and I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity to serve alongside you. But I wanted to today just use as an anecdote the relationship I have with Senator Marty Harbin, my home county senator, because I think it serves as an opportunity to learn how best we can work together at the state and federal level. After my nomination, and I should note Senator Harbin endorsed me in my runoff, incredibly grateful, but after my nomination, he mentioned to me that there's a company in Griffin, whose headquarters is also in Peachtree City, my hometown, and he said they've got a problem with the federal government. It's something you should know about. You're a candidate now, but you should come and learn about it. So Senator Harbin and I went over to a company called Renai America Corporation in Griffin, Georgia. Their headquarters is in Peachtree City, but in Griffin, about 3 or 4 years ago, they started manufacturing or started the assemblage of non-condensing tankless water heaters, a very specific type of water heater that's built in Griffin, Georgia. And they were concerned, this is last July, they were concerned about a regulation the Department of Energy was considering that would adjust the efficiency standards and effectively put out of business the type of water heater that they're manufacturing in Griffin. So Marty and I had a chance to go over, and when the doors opened at Renai America, a former state senator who served with Senator Harbison, Perry McGuire, a wonderful guy who served in this chamber from 93 to 97, welcomed us. He works for Renai now, and he walked us through this issue, and he said this is something that needs to be on your radar. Fast forward to November. I get elected, President Trump gets elected, and they reach back out. Senator Harbin re-engages that conversation because we got to solve this issue. There's a regulation coming down the pipe. It's a federal reg that could put out of business a company that manufactures water heaters and employs 300 to 400 of our constituents in this specific area. So I had an opportunity to connect them with some of the Department of Energy people coming in during the transition, but we decided we needed legislative relief. And I'm just a freshman congressman, so it takes some time to get your feet wet, but I went to work on it immediately. And there's oftentimes when presidencies change hands, Congress can use this tool called the Congressional Review Act. And it enables us to repeal any regulation that an administration enforces within a 60 legislative day window. It just so happens that the regulation that came down on Renai America that would have put it out of business fell within that window just a few weeks ago. So I worked my tail off to make sure we could put this on the legislative calendar, and I'm proud to report, in working with the people across my conference in Congress, and likewise people from Renai, we were able to spend an entire legislative day, or legislative afternoon I should say, passing a bill in the House to repeal this regulation. We got 11 Democrats to make it a bipartisan solution to a federal regulation that would have put out of business 400 people in my congressional district. And I am incredibly proud of that, but that relationship started because a member of this body engaged me, someone running for office, or you could engage any of the members that represent you, and said, we've got an issue here at home that you've got to fix. Use your tools to fix it for us. And that's exactly the type of effectiveness and efficiency that my entire delegation, everyone that represents you, wants to bring to this specific 119th Congress. I don't want to speak much longer, but I do want to close by saying that's the nature of what we're trying to do here. We share constituencies. We share the same problems. Many folks reach out to y'all with problems that I can address, and likewise, Senator Harbin, we got to work on that 74-54 interchange. People are reaching out in my hometown about problems that fall within your domain. But the long and short of it is we all have servants' hearts. We all put our name on the ballot because we want to solve problems for our constituents, and I'm so proud to have the opportunity to represent the incredible people of Georgia's 3rd Congressional District in Congress. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you.
We always enjoy having our physicians come down, our doctors of the day come down, and we like to recognize them for volunteering their time to come to the Capitol. And for that pleasure today, I will call on the Senator of the 55th to introduce our Doctor of the Day. Senator?
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I am so honored today to introduce Dr. Dominic Mack, a professor of family medicine who serves as the director of National Center for Primary Care at Morehouse School of Medicine. And he has the great wisdom to bring his glory with him today. I want to acknowledge her. Sister Wanda, would you stand? Acknowledge her. Thank you. Without further ado, I present to you Dr. Dominic Mack. He's making great strides in research and policy, information technology, substance abuse prevention, health services, research and policy. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so honored to present, without further ado, Dr. Dominic Mack. Dr. Mack. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Great.
Thank you, Senator Mangum, and the great work you do. I'd like to start with some thank yous. This is indeed an honor to be here today. First of all, I want to thank you all for the great work that you do. We do a lot of work with federal and state funding and in this community, urban and rural, and we really appreciate your recognition of the need for health in urban and rural Georgia, and we thank you for the resources that you provide for us. So thank each and every one of you for that. I also want to have some of our team here. I represent Morehouse School of Medicine. Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice, I think she was down here last week to speak to some of you all. I have our team here from the National Center for Primary Care. That's upstairs, and really appreciate them supporting me. I couldn't do the great work that we do together without this wonderful team. And thank Megan for facilitating this. She works with some of you. She's our director of policy, so I really want to thank them. But thank Dr. Rice for support. This is also our Physician Assistant Day with Pangela Dawson, Dr. Dawson here with her team, and you see our physician assistants running around the Capitol. But I want to thank God for this career that I've had and the opportunity that really got me here. And God gave me an angel, and that angel has been my advisor for 30 years, the love of my life. Wanda Mack, I wouldn't be here without her. I might be in the doctor's office, but I might be sweeping the floor. So, I really thank her. She's really been with us. It's our 30th anniversary this year, so thank you, Wanda. Love you, baby. So now I'll be brief. I'm not going to be up here long. I just want to say something. I'm from Augusta, Georgia, born and raised, and I was really inspired to become a physician when my mother actually made me go down to a neighbor's house and help take care of this child with cerebral palsy. The child's name was Walter, little Walter. My sister and I, we would help with the daily exercises for this child. That child died, but down the street a little further was a physician, an African-American physician. We had about two in Augusta, Georgia, Dr. Griffin, the other was Dr. Brown. And during that time, he really inspired me to look into healthcare. And it was also a mother and a father, but especially my mother, who told me I would be a physician when I didn't even know what a physician was. So anyway, I just want to say I've had the opportunity to work in federally qualified health centers in the academic setting, on the for-profit setting. And one thing I found out as a physician, people come to you for pain and discomfort mostly. Might be preventative care, but pain and discomfort. When somebody's in pain, they want help. It doesn't matter who that is. And we're here to provide that care for them. So I want to end by saying thank you for all the work you do. And as I always tell students and people that I work with, whoever you're taking care of, when you ever think about a patient or somebody who needs help or medical care, think about someone who's in pain. Think about your mother. Think about your cousin. Think about your uncle. put that phase on that person, whether you treating them or whether you're voting on a bill, and think about what would you want for that person. So I really applaud the work that you all do. Continue to do it. And thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. And God bless. And I thank God for this career. All right.
We have a very special group of young ladies here behind me here, the Brookwood High School Swimming Championship Team. Secretary, read the resolution, please.
Senate Resolution 303 by Senator Merritt of the 9th and others, a resolution congratulating the Brookwood High School Girls Swim and Dive Team for winning the 2025 GHSA Class 6A State Swimming and Diving Championship and for other purposes. Whereas excellent performance, superior teamwork, and extraordinary resilience made this team a spectacular one to observe throughout the season and is fitting finale to its remarkable 2025 campaign. The team captured its second consecutive state title with a decisive 427 to 269 victory over run-up Harrison. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body congratulate the Brookwood High School Girls Swim and Dive Team for winning the 2025 GHSA Class 6A State Swimming and Diving Championship and extend best wishes for their continued success. Senate Resolution 304 by Senator Merritt of the 9th and others, a resolution congratulating the Brookwood High School Boys Swim and Dive Team for winning the 2025 GHSA Class 6A State Swimming and Diving Championship and for other purposes. Whereas the excellent performance, superior teamwork, and extraordinary resilience made this team a spectacular one to observe throughout the season and is a fitting finale to its remarkable 2025 campaign. The team captured its 8th state championship with a commanding 409 to 293 lead over its closest competitor Walton. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body congratulate the Brookwood High School Boys Swim and Dive Team for winning the 2025 GHSA Class 6A State Swimming and Diving Championship and extend best wishes for their continued success. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. I recognize the senator from the 9th to speak to the resolution.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, everyone. Today, it is my privilege to highlight both the girls and boys swim and dive programs at Brookwood High School, located right in the heart of my district, the great and wonderful Gwinnett County. These two teams both won the 6A championships last month, and we are celebrating them today here at the Gold Dome. We have their coach, Coach Willie is how I heard that he is called, here alongside with the 4 swimmers who scored on the state level. We have Haley, Margaret, Addison, and Thien? I'm saying right? Okay. For those of you who may not know, Brookwood has the best swim program in the entire state of Georgia. This program has an incredible legacy that extends back decades. This is the girls' 2nd consecutive state championship, and they have won the Gwinnett County title for 10 years in a row. They have won the state title 9 times in the past 30 years. And they have won the county title 25 times in the past 30 years. With the boys winning state this year, this makes it their 8th state title in the past 30 years. The special thing about this is the first time since 2019 where both the girls and the boys team from Brookwood both won a state title in the same year. This has only been done 6 times in our state's history, and Brookwood is responsible for 3 of those times. I mean, this is just an incredible group of young people who've worked very hard to maintain excellence both inside and outside the swimming pool. I can't wait to see what their future holds for them. It is my pleasure to honor them. The rest of the team is up there in the gallery today. Please join me in welcoming them. Come on, team. Y'all go ahead and stand up. Yes! So proud. I'm just so proud. And I'm congratulating Coach Willie and all of his team, and thank you for welcoming them to this chamber. And with that, we're going to hear from a few of these young folks. We have Addison Curtis, Haley Dobson, Margaret Cohen, and Thean Nguyen. And they're just going to come up and say a few words. So thank you all for giving them your time, and thank you for helping me honor them today.
Good morning. I'm Margaret Cohen, a captain at Brookwood High School, or for Brookwood Swim and Dive, and I just want to start by thanking everyone for this opportunity. It's been an honor to not only help lead this amazing group of athletes, but be able to be a part of the journey as well. It's with great pleasure that I've been able to stand alongside such a team that I can call family as well, so go Broncos.
Hi, I'm Haley Dobson, and I'm also a captain. As Margaret said, we are so grateful to be standing here right now. It's incredible to see the payoff of hard work, dedication, and so much talent amongst our athletes. That is the reason that we can say we are one of 6 public schools in Georgia's history who have swept both the girls and boys state championship, that being a double for us. It has been an honor to lead these athletes, and I'm beyond proud of each of them. They will continue to do amazing things, and go Broncos.
Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Resolution 18 by Senator Anderson and the 24th and others, a resolution congratulating Terry Holder upon its induction into the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame and for other purposes. Whereas during his distinguished career, Terry Holder achieved an exceptional record of 588 to 183 in baseball coaching, ranking 13th in Georgia state history for total wins and becoming the first baseball coach in Georgia to reach 500 career wins. And whereas he led his teams to 8 state championships within a 12-year-long span, earning 5 titles at Evans High School and 3 at Greenbrier High School. And whereas Terry Holder further served as the first head football coach at Greenbrier High School with playoff appearances each year, and whereas Terry Holder has previously been inducted into 3 prestigious Hall of Fames, the Georgia Athletic Coaches Association, GACA, the Georgia Dugout Club, and the the Bruton Parker College Athletic Hall of Fame. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body congratulate Terry Holder upon the grand occasion of his induction into the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame and extend the most sincere best wishes for continued health and happiness. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection to adoption of resolution? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. Want to recognize Mr. Terry Holder, who was just introduced into the Georgia High School Hall of Fame last week. There must be something in the air and that part of the woods down in Columbia County, because we just had the current team from Harlem here who was going to be celebrating their soon-to-be third state title in a row, and Mr. Jimmy, the coach down there, has always been a big winner, and just across town here in Evans and a couple other schools, Greenbrier, Mr. Terry Holder was holding down the other end of the county. So I bet there was probably some pretty good matchups there. But it's a pleasure to have him, and I recognize the senator from the 24th to speak to the resolution. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, you just about gave my speech. But anyway, it is truly an honor to have another legend here today. Terry Holder was just inducted into Georgia State Sports Hall of Fame in Macon. Only 3 gets inducted a year. In 1989, he was ranked the 3rd national best baseball team at Evans High School. Terry Holder has changed so many young men's lives. He coached a gentleman that went pro named Todd Green. Todd Green is now coaching with Arizona, and he played for the Angels. He was a catcher, and his most famous catch was when he caught the ball that our President George W. Bush threw in after 9/11. But anyway, Terry Holder's touched many, many lives. He's won 8 state championships in baseball, and both him and Jimmy Lewis both come from Columbia County, and by now y'all realize we do know how to play baseball. But at this time, I'm going to give him his resolution, and once again, I'm going to show y'all how to do a resolution. Mr. Terry Holder, come in and give us a few words.
Well, I'm certainly very humbled by receiving this proclamation from the state of Georgia and the Senate today. We accept this with great admiration, and this represents a lot of coaches that have worked with me, and certainly a lot of the fine young men that have played for our high schools. But we would like to thank you very much for this honor. Thank you.
Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Resolution 356 by Senator Beach of the 21st and others, a resolution honoring the life and memory of Steve Mensch and for other purposes. Whereas the state of Georgia mourns the loss of one of its most distinguished citizens with the passing of Steve Mensch on December 6, 2024. And whereas as a pivotal figure in Georgia's film and television industry, he played a vital role in advocating for the tax credits that established the state as a premier destination for film production, significantly contributing to Georgia's economic growth. And whereas during his remarkable career, he oversaw the creation and development of multiple studios, culminating in his final role as president and general manager of studio operations at Tyler Perry Studios. And whereas he further served the film industry as a member of the Governor's Advisory Committee on Film, Music, and Digital Entertainment, chair of the Georgia Screen Entertainment Coalition, board member of both Arts Now Incorporated and the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival, and president of the Georgia Production Partnership. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body join in honoring the life and memory of Steve Mensch and express their deepest and most sincere regret at his passing. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. Recognize Senator from the 28th.
Mr. President, I am joined by the senators from the 6th, the 16th, and the 28th. And today we are here to honor the life and memory of Mr. Steve Mensch. His family is in the gallery, Steve's family, and several members of Tyler Perry Studios are in the gallery. I know his wife, Danielia, son Charles, daughters Adelina and Josephine are up here. Would y'all stand? Thank you. As chair of economic development, I was fortunate to go to Tyler Perry Studios several times and get to know Steve and work with him on how we're going to grow our film industry. Steve was president of Tyler Perry Studios, and he was passionate about Georgia being #1 in film production, and we've done that. And I want to say Mensch actually means good guy, and Steve was truly a good guy. His other love besides film was aviation. He was so proud of earning his pilot's license in 2020 and was proud of his plane. He showed me several pictures of his plane the last time I was out at the studios. But what Steve loved the most and was so proud of was his family. Last time I was at Tyler Perry Studios with him, we went to the replica of the White House, and we sat in the Oval Office, and he told me all about his family. He talked about his children, his wife, and one of the stories he told me, he said he named the tail number on his plane 720 DP because he called his wife DP, so he named it after his wife, DP. His family was everything to Steve, and we lost Steve way too soon, but he touched several lives and made a difference in people's lives and our community. We will miss Steve. I would now like to ask the senator from the 6th to say a few words.
Thank you. I just wanted to really briefly talk about the last time I spent the last moments I had with Steve. I first met him. I came out for a tour of Tyler Perry Studios, and you could just really see his passion for really everything he was involved in, his family especially, aviation, but film was truly, the man loved it, and we talked about the workforce side of it, and so I decided to invite him and Frank Patterson, who's over at Trilith. And the three of us went down to our college and career academy in Noonan that Congressman Jack had just mentioned earlier, and wanted them to see what we were doing in film to build the workforce, to build the next generation of people in film. And it really, Steve and both Frank were just both truly blown away by what we were already doing. And you could just hear him, the passion that he had, the excitement he had about the future of film in the state of Georgia and really in this country as a whole. And I thank Steve, I thank the family for lending him to us and to this state to carry out that passion, and just thank him for all the many things he did for such a great industry for this state. So Mensch family, thank you so much. Tyler Perry Studio family, thank you so much. Steve was just a great American and great asset to this state. Now the senator from 28th.
Thank you very much. I overjoyed to be a part of celebrating the life of a global leader in entertainment. Yes, I had an opportunity also to meet Steve Mintz many, many times on my different times that I went to the Tyler Perry studio. Today is really fitting because today is Georgia Film Day at the Capitol. And it's been Representative Longtran and Kim Schofield and Dexter Sharper, who's been in many of the Tyler Perry films. And Kim Schofield's daughter works with the Tyler Perry Studios. And so it's really fitting today that we stand here to honor this great man. Because, you know, the success of all of the hard work shows and all the things that he did in the Georgia Film Cruise with the local businesses and supportive communities across the state, from Atlanta to Savannah and everywhere in between. Our state officers' diverse locations and skilled labor and welcoming environment for the filmmakers. And Steve did just that. They didn't just hire the actors and the cameramen, but so many other professions have been honored to go in the Tyler Perry Studios. I would like to present the highest honor that we can give a citizen in this whole state of Georgia. And it reads, State of Georgia, Secretary of State Brad Rassenberger, do hereby proclaim posthumously that Steve Mintz, as a outstanding Georgia citizen, and may this outstanding citizen be afforded every courtesy as a goodwill ambassador from the state of Georgia as he walks through the heavens. We will forever keep you in our hearts and appreciate your service for your community and this great state. I want to thank our Lieutenant Governor and definitely Senator from the 21st and all the other senators who stand right here today. And we want to present this to the family, and I hope they'll come down so we can hand it to you personally. Stand up again and let's get a hand clap. One more time, his wife, his daughter, his son. Thank you very much. Thank you again.
Are there any unanimous consents? Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? I will recognize the senator from the 17th on a point of personal privilege. But before the senator from the 17th gets up here, I wanted to take a moment because I know she's going to recognize the ladies of Spelman College who are here with us today, because it is Spelman College today. But I know they come with us with heavy hearts right now. About a month ago, I think y'all might have read about a couple that drowned in Lake Oconee. Lake Oconee Lake there over in East Georgia. I knew Gary Jones, the young man who was killed or drowned, and his fiancee Joycelyn Wilson, I believe, was an employee at Spelman. And from everything I heard from the Jones family, who are Atlanta residents here, that she was a wonderful, wonderful lady. And so I'm going to Gary Jones's funeral tomorrow, this right here. And if we could at this time, before the senator takes a well, because we all stand and have a moment of silence for Mr. Gary Jones and Miss Jocelyn Wilson from Spelman. Thank you. Recognize the senator from the 17th.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I'm here to announce that today is Spelman College Day at the Georgia State Capitol, the first day of spring. Spelman College, a historically black college and global leader in the education of women of African descent, is dedicated to academic excellence in the liberal arts and sciences. In U.S. News and World Report college rankings for 2024 and 2025, Spelman College has ranked as the #1 HBCU for 18 years in a row. Spelman is the #1 top performer in social mobility, #8 as the best learning community, #16 in most innovative schools, and #40 as one of the best liberal arts colleges, and that is just to name a few of our top 50 rankings. The college is led by the interim president and former board chair of trustees, Ms. Rosalind Brewer. I would also like to recognize a Spelman freshman who made the news recently, Ms. Kamora Friedland, who was a 16-year-old high school student when she completed her first solo flight and cross-country solo flight to become the youngest black female in New York State's history to earn her private pilot's license. She plans to earn her commercial pilot's license, and she hopes she is an inspiration to other black girls to reach for the skies and earn her pilot's license too. Please raise your hand. Give up your hand. I am proud to say that my office in the Capitol is Spelman strong, and in addition to legislators in the Senate and House, we have several students and alumni serving as staffers, interns, and lobbyists. I'm proud to be a member of the class of 1970, and I have joining me today representatives from the Atlanta Metro chapter of the National Alumni Association of Spelman College. My administrative assistant, Karen Thompson, class of 1988, and the intern, Ms. Janae Shaw, a junior at Spelman, are here today. And a personal point, my sister Carolyn Davenport, who's a Golden Girl, the class of 1969, a former Pan American flight attendant, and retired teacher from Clayton County Public Schools. Colleagues, please join me in welcoming the ladies of Spelman College. But to the side here we have Ms. Krista Sidbury, the Atlanta chapter president of the National Alumni Association. Also Ms. Karen Wood, advocate of social justice chair for the chapter. Ms. Renee Wilson is the Southeastern Regional Coordinator of the National Association.
and Ms. Kamara Friedman, class of 2027, the youngest African American female pilot in the United States. Raise your hand again. So ladies of Spelman in the gallery, please stand and receive our welcome to you. Thank you so much for being here. Mr. President, I yield the well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Senator, and thank you, ladies of Spelman and all the people here representing Spelman College. Thank you for being here today. I recognize the senator from the 18th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. So today I rise with some enthusiasm that's usually reserved for when you spot the smiling beaver, and he's actually in the chamber with us this morning. Of course, I'm talking about Buc-ee's. Today is Buc-ee's Day at the Capitol. You know, it's not just a great gas station, but it's the only place where you can fill up your tank, get a brisket sandwich that would make your grandmother jealous, walk out with a cooler and a rocking chair and enough beaver nuggets to last a lifetime. I am very pleased to tell you that the first Buc-ee's that was placed in the state was in Houston County and in my district on the south end of my district, and another Buc-ee's is coming to my district as well in the northern end of my district in Monroe County. And so this is a great business, and we've got several folks with the Buc-ee's organization that are here on the wall over that are here in the Capitol today and to say hello. They also are known for some of the cleanest restrooms in America. Seriously, there are actual awards for this, and they win these awards. And they represent something greater, though, and that's one of the reasons Monroe County is excited about having their next location be in Monroe County, just south of Forsyth, because it represents economic growth, it represents job creation, and they are known for their community investment wherever they go, with successful locations in Warner Robins, Calhoun, and Brunswick, which is on the drawing board and underway rather, and Monroe County that's coming. Buc-ee's continues to bring its economic development to Georgia wherever they can. The location that's going to be in Monroe is going to be one we're particularly proud of. It's going to be a 74,000 square foot facility that's going to represent over 200 full-time jobs. They're not just setting up in Georgia, they are committed to development in Georgia, and we are grateful to have them. So colleagues, let's give a warm welcome, a good warm Georgia welcome to the folks from the leadership team of Buc-ee's that are here for the day, for the state. And if you hadn't tried any Buc-ee's nuggets yet, well, today is the day to try them. And if you need your picture with Buc-ee, he's right over there. Let's give a welcome to these folks here. We're glad to have you all with us, and thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from 6. Recognize the senator from the 9th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple of announcements to make. First of all, I want to welcome the mayor of Grayson, which is where I live, in the mighty ninth, of course. Mayor Allison from Grayson is here today to visit us. Y'all welcome Mayor Allison. Also, I want to recognize JYJC this morning. JYJC is over 100 young Georgians, including a dozen students from Shiloh High School in Snellville, who are joining us in the Capitol today to share their vision for a brighter future here in Georgia. This youth takeover is hosted by the Georgia Youth Justice Coalition, that is JYJC. It is a youth-led collaborative dedicated to giving young Georgians a seat at the table in our democracy. You've seen the incredible young people from Georgia Youth Justice Coalition nearly every day for the last 3 legislative sessions, bringing dozens of young people into the Capitol to take part in the work of policy making and to make their voices heard as part of the civic engagement process. What you may not know is that the Georgia Youth Justice Coalition now includes over 10,000 members from 97 counties in Georgia. And last year, JYJC knocked on more than 238,000 doors and made more than 285 phone calls to encourage young voters of all ages to cast a ballot in support of issues young Georgians care about. Issues like affordable housing, public transportation, public education, health care, gun safety, climate change, and the promise of a future where all young Georgians have the freedom to learn, the freedom to feel safe, and the freedom to be themselves regardless of race, gender, or sexual orientation, or immigration status. Today's Youth Takeover is put on in partnership by the Georgia Youth Justice Coalition Action, ACLU of Georgia, Collective Renaissance Georgia, Georgia Conservation of Voters, Georgia Latino Alliance for Human Rights, Ponder Latinx, Asian American Advocacy Fund, and the Human Rights Campaign of Georgia. I know some of these incredible young people are up in the gallery, I think, or they're floating around here. There they are. They're up here in the corner. Welcome you all. So thank you all for welcoming our next generation of Georgia leaders. Mr. President, I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from 6. Glad you joined us, Senator.
Sorry, Mr. President, I was wallering around the chamber today. Wasn't at my desk, but moving a little slow today. The tooth fairy kept me up last night, but today is my middle child, Archibald Walker Brass. We'll call him Archie. It's his 10th birthday, so happy birthday, Archie. I yield the well.
Tell him I said happy birthday, Senator. Recognize Senator from the 32nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is Women's History Moment, and I wanted to just remind you all about Dr. Lila Denmark. She was the world's oldest practicing pediatrician until she retired at the age of 103 after 73 years in practice. She ended up living to be 114 years old, and she was a co-developer of the pertussis vaccine. She was born in Portal, Georgia, which I have to confess I don't know where that is. Oh, Senator, you're going to tell me where that is later? Okay, Senator from the 23rd. She went to Tift College in Forsyth, and she went to medical school at MCG. She was the 3rd woman in MCG's medical school class. And then she did a residency at Grady, and in fact was the first physician on staff at Eggleston Hospital when it opened. She lived independently in her home in Cumming until she was 106. And now there's actually a new Forsyth County High School that was named after her and is located near her former home. So she's an inspiration and a super centenarian, and hopefully all of us will leave a legacy as great as hers. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
Recognize the senator from the 12th.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, on February 6th, on my very long drive home, I was abruptly interrupted by a reporter. The reporter never asked about Southwest Georgia's highest unemployment rate in the state. The reporter didn't ask about the lowest educational proficiency rates in modern history found in our schools. The reporter did not ask or inquire about some of the worst healthcare outcomes, did not ask about closed hospitals or lack of EMS service, no Medicaid expansion. But on February 6th, in this very chamber, almost 3 hours of unbelievable debate was dedicated to SB 1, which impacts less than 0.0001% of Georgia's population. And again, on day 32, yet another lengthy debate took place right here in this august body that had absolutely no substance or import to my constituents or the other 55 districts. Meanwhile, over 1,750,000 public school children in the state of Georgia suffer from academic malfeasance, along with continuous learning loss. For most citizens, this does not make for interesting reading, not quite our fancy headline stuff. Frankly, I thought the reporter missed an opportune time to elicit answers to the greatest or the number one threat to the number one place to do business. The threat, my friends, is an inferior education. That is the greatest threat to Georgia's economy. An undereducated, unprepared workforce is exactly what you get without high-achieving quality schools and quality educators. But pausing briefly, I want to salute the senator from the 4th who has tirelessly championed educational issues to improve public education, especially around literacy. Thank you, Senator from the 4th. You are amazing. Let's begin with Georgia's pre-K program. It is widely known that students who attend pre-K are far better prepared for kindergarten than 4-year-olds who do not attend Georgia's pre-K programs. Just remember that kindergarten is not compulsory, but making it so would definitely increase the chances of student achievement throughout this state, higher achievement. When will we make kindergarten compulsory? Fund all of our key pre-K slots. Address the rise in absenteeism in our schools. Transform and transfer low-performing graduates into pathways that meet their employable needs. When will teacher education programs produce more quality educational leaders and school personnel? Presently, the Global Partnership for Education lists the following as the top preeminent educational systems in the world: South Korea, Canada, Japan, Luxembourg, Ireland, Russia, Lithuania, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Norway. My friends and colleagues, each day that we ignore the fragile state of the educational system in Georgia, we commit economic suicide. The 1,750,000 public school children need our attention. They need us. I am frightened for our children. They will be our economic bearers, whether they are prepared or not. They will be our economic change agents. Let's put the adults back in the room and get this right for our children. They are the future. They are our future Georgians. Thank you, Mr. President, and I yield the well.
Thank you, Senator. Break it down, Senator from the 55th.
Ladies and gentlemen, I rise today in this august body to address, following up on my distinguished colleague from South Georgia, the impact of shutting down the U.S. Department of Education on Georgia students. The proposed shutdown of the U.S. Department of Education presents a direct threat to students in Georgia, particularly in my district, District 55. Education is not just a policy issue, it's the foundation of economic growth, workforce development, and social mobility. Without federal oversight and funding, Georgia public schools and higher education institutions will suffer devastating consequences. For example, federal funding contribution. Georgia's public schools receive over $2 billion annually in federal funding, representing 16.1% of the state's total education budget. Title I programs. Over 1,300 Georgia schools receive Title I grants, serving nearly 60% of the state's K through 12 students. Special education support. The Individuals with Disabilities Act, IDEA, allocates over $380 million annually to ensure Georgia students with disabilities receive necessary services. Pell Grants and higher education impact. Nearly 300,000 Georgia college students depend on Pell Grants and federal student loans to afford higher education. Some of us come like myself. I didn't come from a wealthy family. I didn't have money to go to college, but here I am. Not only did I go to college, I went to divinity school, I went to law school, and I am in this school. Thank you. Loss of critical federal education funding. If Department of Education is dismantled, Georgia would lose substantial funding that directly impacts low-income students, students with disabilities, higher education, K through 12 impact. Schools in District 55 across Georgia rely on Title I. Special education programs, higher education and workforce reduction, increased educational inequity, urban versus rural divide. Georgia's rural schools already face funding challenges. The loss of federal support would further widen the gap between urban and rural education quality. And needless to say, the erosion of civil rights protections. We know our history. We know Brown versus Board in 1954. Office of Civil Rights at the Department of Education investigates those challenges. But the greatest economic impact is our businesses' reluctance to invest. Companies choose locations based on the availability of an educated workforce. A decline in educational quality could deter major corporations from expanding, particularly in Georgia. We remember Montgomery versus Atlanta, the tale of two cities, the reputation of Montgomery with segregation now, segregation forever, versus Atlanta, a city too busy to hate. And we must bring that culture back and leave no child left behind. We can no longer afford to be 38th right now in literacy rate. I looked it up. We were not in the top 10 anymore. What will happen now when we get rid of the Department of Education? We must not allow Russia to be 21. We cannot allow Cuba to be more literate than the United States of America. We cannot allow third graders to be the measure of how many jails we are going to build based on their literacy rate. My colleagues, we cannot allow our country to go down the hill. Mr. President, I yield the well. We cannot allow education to be lost in the United States of America. I yield the well. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Mind all senators, we got a 3-minute time limit. I'll let the last two go over, so I won't get started on that train right now. So 3 minutes, but thank you, Senator, for your points of personal privilege. Recognize the senator from the 38th.
Good morning, colleagues, and happy first day of spring. It is very clear that we would not be able to do the work that we do without the teams that are working behind the scenes for us, from our administrative assistants to our chiefs of staff and other staff members. So I just wanted to take a second to recognize my chief of staff, Blake Robinson, product of Valdosta, Georgia, and graduate of Georgia Southern University and current student at Georgia State University. Today is his birthday, so I just wanted to give him a birthday shout out and recognize him and thank him for all the work that he does to make sure that I can do the work that I do for the great Senate District 38. So just wanted to do that, and thank you all, and have a good rest of your day. And Mr. President, I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from the 28th.
They saved the best for last. So thank you very much, Mr. President and senators. I stand with other members of the Mapleton delegation and the Cobb County, who have been representing all of Cobb County for a long time. So I was very grateful when I learned that I had some of Cobb County in my new district. At first I was all upset until I started meeting the great people who I have joined to work with. And I stand with the senator from the 35th, 33rd, 37th, 32nd, and 56 are also part of our delegation. So we're here today to talk about the little bag that's on your desk, the brown bag, and that is Mapleton Day at the Capitol. We have Mayor Michael Owens. We have all the council persons, Councilman T.J. Ferguson. We have Councilman Ron Davis, Councilmember Damie Oladapo, Keisha Jeffcoat, Patricia Ouch, and Deborah Henderson. We also have the city manager, Bill Tinks, and T.J. Copeland, Chief of Staff to the mayor, and the principal of Pebblebrooks, who had the children here with us for a long, long time, a couple of times this year. So we thank all of them for being here. And did I miss anything? So thank you for being here today. We are glad that you are a brand new city with a brand new senator, and I'm glad honored to serve you. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will. Did you want to say something? Oh, wait. We got people upstairs that are from come stand. All our Mapleton family that are still here. Let's give them a warm welcome. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Senator. Recognize the Senator from the 45th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today, as many of you heard as we started off today, I have 12 pages here. I don't know if that's a record or not, but a couple of them, but one of them is my middle daughter, Berkeley, and her friend, Phoebe, that are here with us today. But then I've also got the other 10 pages. 6 of them are kids from, or all 10 of them are from Mill Creek High School, which is in my district in Gwinnett County. 6 of them they have special needs, wide-ranging special needs, and then there's 4 of them here that are their mentors in high school, and getting to see them interact with their mentors, socially, and how they've handled themselves here on the floor today, being our pages. Just wanted to get up and recognize each and every one of them. As many of you know, Martha, who's in the pro tem office, who has Down syndrome, that is currently attending Georgia Tech. These children, there's a lot of needs from their waivers for once they age out at 22, and I could go on and on and on. I won't get into details there, but we need to help out this population. They can be very productive citizens, and they don't need to be forgotten. They need to be included in the classroom. Their social skills, it's very important, as many of you know. The ability to have good social skills, to be able to adapt, is essential in life for success. And these kids are doing great things. Just wanted to recognize them. Got 5 of them at the back of the room now in here with us. And then we've also got their assistant principal up in the gallery from Mill Creek High School. If y'all would please stand. We also have one of the councilmen from the city of Mulberry here with us today as well. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
Recognize the Senator from the 31st.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be very brief. Just want to give a shout out to Mrs. McElroy's 6th grade social studies class at Crossroads Middle School in Dallas, Georgia. They are watching us literally right now to understand how this body and the Senate works. To the kids and Mrs. McElroy who are watching right now, just understand that this is the upper chamber. This is the chamber that makes the best laws in this building. And to those kids, just make sure you listen and pass your test that Ms. McElroy give you. And look forward to seeing y'all around Dallas sometime soon. So God bless and thank you.
Recognize the Senator from the 35th. I recognize the Senator from the 41st.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I rise today because a year ago, while we were debating legislation in this body, I got a phone call that a baby boy had been born in Indiana, Indianapolis, Illinois, and he happened to be the biological brother of Reese, the first child that we welcomed into our home a little bit about 9 months before. And so we got the phone call around 5 p.m. while we were still debating on this floor, and I immediately left. And thanks to such a huge support group of folks, my wife and I were able to drive overnight to Indiana and pick up our baby boy, Khalil. So I rise today to wish him a happy first birthday, but also to offer so much gratitude to the members of this body. The senator, he used to be the rules chairman, actually carried my bill on this floor the very next day because I could not be here. But the outpouring of support that my family received from this body is absolutely incredible as we welcome a second child into our home in less than 1 year. So thank you all, and happy birthday to Khalil.
And he's a good-looking little man, too, so happy birthday to him. Senator from the 35th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise, colleagues, to recognize an important organization in Metro Atlanta. It is Latina Leads, which is a nonprofit that empowers Latina girls ages 8 to 16 to become active leaders in their communities through programs focused on leadership, self-esteem, financial literacy, entrepreneurship, values, and well-being. And they were founded by two amazing folks here joining us in this chamber. Eli Callazo, Maria Alejandra Bastidas are the founders of this great organization. Colleagues, let's welcome them as they join us here. And we are also joined by participants of the great organization and their family members who join us in the gallery, but are also, I want to recognize three Latinas that are in elementary, middle, and high school here, Valentina, Isabella, and Vanessa, who are here with us. So welcome. Thank y'all so much, and congratulations for everything that y'all do. Thank you. Mr. President, I yield the well.
Good job, good job. Glad to have each and every one of you here. Does any other senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? You have before you a consent calendar of privilege resolutions. Does any senator wish to remove a resolution from the consent calendar? Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution of the consent calendar? Chair hears none, and the resolution on the consent calendar is adopted. Senator from the 13th, what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent that Senate Resolution 391 be withdrawn from the Committee of Banking and Financial Institutions and be recommitted to the Committee on Rules.
Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Resolution 391 by Senator Albers of the 56 and others, a resolution creating the Senate Study Committee on Artificial Intelligence and Digital Currency and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection? Without objection, motion granted. Recognize the senator from the 29th.
Mr. President, I ask for unanimous consent that SR 311 be withdrawn from the Committee on H and HS and be recommitted to the Committee on Rules.
Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Resolution 311 by Senator Robertson of the 29th and others, resolution creating the Senate Study Committee on Recovery Residences and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection? That objection, motion granted. Recognize senator from the 26th. Where's he is?
Mr. President, I'd like to ask that the rules be suspended in order for two local bills that the senator from the 26th
Hey, Senator.
serves
Senator, we need the
be
captions.
read.
We need the captions of the bills so we can read them. Need the captions.
Yes, sir. I got them in my hand.
Okay. Just bring them up here so we can read the caption. Secretary, read the caption. Without objection, Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 348 by Senator Lucas to the 26th. The bill is being titled an act to amend an act creating a board of county commissioners of Hancock County, approved October 5th, 1885, as amended particularly by an act approved May 6, 2013, so as to change the description of the commissioner districts, provide for definitions and inclusions, provide for continuation in office of current members, provide for related matters, provide for effective date to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Senate Bill.
State and local government. Local.
Senate Bill 349 by Senator Lucas to the
State and local
26th.
government.
Mr. President, that completes the order.
You have a local consent calendar of local bills. Sorry. Mr. Secretary, have any objections been filed for any of these bills?
Mr. President, Senator Dixon of the 45th and others object to Senate Bill 331, which is on the local consent calendar, and hereby request that it be moved from the to the Senate local contested calendar. That completes the order.
Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 331 by Senator Dixon of the 45th and others. The bill to be entitled an act to repeal an act creating and establishing a joint airport authority for the city of Winder and the county of Barrow, approved March 25th, 1958, as amended particularly by an act approved March 28th, 1986, and an act approved March 16th, 1989, to provide for the assets and liabilities thereof, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
All right, we're going to take Senate Bill 331 up after we vote on the rest of the bills on the calendar. So it'll be the first order of business as soon as we vote on the local consent calendar. Is there objection to agreeing to the Board Committee on State and Local Governmental Operations, which is favorable to the passage of the bills on the local consent calendar? Chair hears none, and the Board Committee is agreed to. The questions on the passage of the bills on the local consent calendar. All those in favor will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 51, the nays are 0. This bill having on the local consent calendar, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. So now we're going to take up 331 from the Senator from the 45th. Secretary, read the caption and the amendment, please.
Senate Bill 331 by Senator Dixon of the 45th and others, bill to maintain an act to repeal an act creating and establishing a joint airport authority for the city of Winder and the county of Barrow, approved March 25th, 1958, as amended, particularly by an act approved March 28th, 1986, and an act approved March 16th, 1989, to provide for the assets and liabilities thereof, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on State and Local Governmental Operations recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Dixon, Chairman. Mr. President, Senator Dixon, the 45th, offers the following amendment number 1 to amend Senate Bill 331 by inserting after authority on line 17 the following. Provided, however, the Barrow County Airport Authority shall remain in existence for the limited purpose of transferring assets to Barrow County, after which the Barrow County Airport Authority shall automatically resolve. By inserting after authority on line 22 the following. Provided, however, the Barrow County Airport Authority shall remain in existence for the limited purpose of transferring assets to Barrow County, after which the Barrow County Airport Authority shall automatically dissolve. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Recognize the Senator from the 45th.
Thank you, Mr. President. SB 331, it's a local bill having to do with Barrow County and the Airport Authority. Essentially what the request is for the Airport Authority to be dissolved and then the control of the airport be taken over by the Barrow County Commission. The intent is the airport is in, deferred maintenance. The runway has some issues. The FBO has leaks. You have to go outside to turn the lights on. There's a lot of things that need to be updated on the airport. It's an overflow airport for Athens, so it becomes very busy. And so what the county commission would like to do would be to dissolve the airport authority and then be able to put T-SPLOST money that would come up for a vote in November so they could start making improvements to the airport. The reason for the one change is there was some of the hangars out there that are being leased. They've got long ground leases. They wanted their leases to be honored, so simply not dissolving the airport authority till the assets are completely transferred made all parties happy. And that's the reason for the one change. Mr. President, be happy to answer any questions, or I'll yield the well.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Question is on the adoption of amendment number 1. Adoption of amendment number 1. If there's no objection, amendment number 1 is adopted. Is there objection to agree to the report of committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. Report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. Main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill as amended. All those in favor of the bill will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. Recognize the senator from the 9th. For what purpose you rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it true, Mr. President, that this is not a mulberry bill?
Senator knows of what she speaks. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 54, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed as amended. Recognize the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ask for unanimous consent that the following bills and resolutions be engrossed at this time. House Bill 111, House Bill 112, and H.R. 42.
Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 111 by Representative Hong of the 103rd and others, bills amending title and act to amend Article 2, Chapter 7, Title 48 of the Fiscal Code of Georgia annotated, related to imposition, rate computation, exemptions, and credits relative to income taxes as to reduce the rate of tax, to provide for related matters, to provide for an effective date and applicability, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. House Bill 112 by Representative McDonald of the 26th and others, bills amending title and act to amend Chapter 7, Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, related to income taxes, so as to provide for a one-time tax credit for individual taxpayers who filed income taxes returns for the 2023 and 2024 taxable years, to provide for definitions, to provide for related matters, to provide for an effective date, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. House Resolution 42 by Representative Gamble of the 15th and others, resolution ratifying Governor Brian P. Kemp's executive order numbers 10.01.24.02, 10.08.24.01, and 10.15.24.01, suspending the collection of motor fuel and diesel fuel taxes and for other purposes. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection? Recognize Senator from the 53rd. What purpose you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask under 6-8.4 that the question be divided by removing HB 111.
All right. Is there objection to the Senator from the 53rd? No objection. All right. So each one of these be voted on separately. Okay. All right. So the question is on engrossment for HB 111. All right, the question is, Senator from the 53rd, what purpose you rise?
Point of order, Mr. President. Is there going to be an opportunity to speak on this motion of engrossment before the vote?
Absolutely. The well is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. I've asked to separate HB 111 on this engrossment vote because I believe this is a great opportunity to lower the income tax more than 0.1 percentage point. Now, the law already states that we're going to lower the income tax by 0.1 percentage point, but what this bill does is it brings out one more 0.1 percentage point. So now we're at 0.2% in the income tax. What I would like to do is lower the income tax by a whole point. And I would be willing to offer the amendment to this legislation to make that 1 point. You know, it's a great opportunity in our state as DOGE is coming around to find 1% of cuts when it comes to our income tax. That's only about 20% of the total revenue that our income tax brings in. You know, cuts are always a little hard, but fasting is also a good thing. We're kind of like drug addicts. We just want to keep spending money. And until we take some serious effort in lowering the income tax by a whole percentage point and not 0.2 percentage point, I don't think we're going to get very far. Because at 0.2 percentage point, I've talked about this many times at the well, it's going to take until, I'm the youngest senator in this room, until I'm about 80 years old before we fully repeal the income tax. To my Republican colleagues, repealing the income tax is one of the most popular things polling across our state right now. We as the Republicans have the majority in this legislature to pass a full percentage point and not 0.2 percentage point. You know, it's like when you're fasting. I learned the other day that, and the doctors in this room may coordinate with this, but after you've fasted for about 16 hours, your body goes into this apophagy, where basically your body is going and finding all the broken and bad things and using that for energy. And if we repeal a full point of our income tax, that's going to force us to find out and get rid of those bad things in our budget. And this is a prime opportunity to do that because the big budget hasn't come in over to the Senate yet for us to vote on it. So we've still got an opportunity to clean up all those bad things. And that's the reason why I would ask that you vote no on engrossing House Bill 111. Thank you, Mr. President, and I'll yield for any questions.
You do have a, Senator, do you have a question or you just want to speak? Okay. You have no questions, Senator.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from the second.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this morning I rise in objection to the engrossment of HB 111. As we have heard from many Georgians that are struggling with the cost of insurance, if you look at our state budget, we collect $750 million in the insurance premium tax, and instead of reducing the insurance premium tax, it would give immediate relief to hardworking Georgians that pay and bear the cost of insurance. We're reducing the income tax rate, but that's not what they're asking us to do. They're asking us to work to lower their insurance premiums. And so, Mr. President, I am a no on the engrossment of HB 111 because we could do two things at the same time, and I believe that we can walk and chew gum because we need to make sure that the folks that are asking us for the relief, we deliver the relief they're asking for. I've never gone to the doctor, Mr. President, and gotten the doctor to write me a prescription for what actually wasn't hurting me. And so if we continue on this course, Mr. President, we'll continue to write prescriptions for patients that we've never seen, talked to, and or treated and said, what, I did give you that. Let's do what the folks are asking us to do, and that's to lower the cost of their insurance premiums. And with that, Mr. President, I yield the well.
Thank you, Senator. So posture now is we're going to vote for engrossment of HB 111, and that motion was originally made by the majority leader. And all those in favor of motion to engross will vote yay. Opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the motion to engross, the yeas are 30, the nays are 24, and the motion has prevailed. Now the motion is now for engrossing House Bill 112 or H.R. 42. Is there any senator wish to speak for or against these measures? Out hearing that. All those in favor of engrossment will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machines. Senator from the 41st, for what purpose you run? On the motion to engross, the yeas are 32, the nays are 20, and the motion to engross has prevailed. Senator from the 41st, for what purpose you rise?
Mr. President, I ask for unanimous consent that Senate Rules 3.1.2 and 4-2.1A be suspended to allow for the first reading and assignment of a local bill.
Is there objection? Without objections, Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 350 by Senator Jackson, the 41st, and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing for the compensation of certain county officers and officials of DeKalb County, approved March 31st, 1976, as amended so as to revise the compensation of certain judges, judicial officers, and county officers, to make conforming changes related to court names changed by general law, to provide for related matters, to provide for effective dates, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes.
State and local government. All right, we're on to the rules calendars, which today means we're going to take a break for about 45 minutes. So y'all go get some lunch, and so we'll stand at ease, and then we'll hit the rules calendar when we get back. So I know the Pro Tem has lunch ready for the members. I think he's got them set up in the ante room. So y'all enjoy lunch. We'll be back in about 45 minutes to an hour. Thank y'all.